Hey guys, I just want to take a second ahead of this week's episode to share some frankly heartbreaking news. I've learned today that Jen, who played Silver for a portion of the first season of ModifedRoll, passed away on February the 14th. Jen was a fantastic person. She had a lovely, bubbly personality and went out of her way to make people feel welcome. The original cast met Jen through Rooster Teeth's convention RTX in London. That was how we formed the original group that then evolved into the podcast. Jen unfortunately had to step back after her work schedule changed. And it is one of my biggest regrets for the podcast that we weren't able to continue playing with her because it was such a joy. And we sorely missed her after she left. So I'd just like to ask that anyone listening could take a moment and just spare a thought for her friends and family who are having to deal with this horrible loss at this time, and to think fondly on Jen and the amazing things that she's done. So thank you for the time that you spent with us, Jen. I only wish that it had lasted a little bit longer. Thanks for taking that moment with us, guys, and, we'll get back into the episode now.
2, 3, 4.
Hey modders, welcome back to ModifedRoll. Don't forget we're sponsored by DM Dice. Check out the link to their website in our description, or head over to dmdice.co.uk and use the code ModifedRoll for 10% off all purchases. In the last episode, the party made a decision. After protecting the village from the unforeseen attack, they set off to find out exactly what was going on. The best place to start? Knights Valour. On the road, they run into another wagon full of villagers, being escorted by several soldiers. After much internal struggle, they decide they are in no shape to take on these enemies, and instead try to comfort the people in the wagon. They instead decide to follow them, and find that they are heading in the same direction to Knights Valour. Upon reaching the city, they discover there is something odd going on, as a malevolence hangs in the air. After settling in for the night, they discover that their good deeds are not likely to go unpunished, as they are being blamed for the attacks in the villages to the south. They formulate a rough plan and head in for the night. We join them now in the next morning as they awaken to a new day. In this, Episode 3 of Season 2 of ModifedRoll, Bird Watching. As the sun crests the horizon and light strikes the city of Knights Valour, you find yourselves awakening in the beds that you've rented in the tavern. You probably haven't had the most restful night's sleep after the day you had before, racked with worry and thoughts of what was to come next. But as the light washes over the windows and you come to face the new day, what do you do when you wake up?
Well, Sinclair is going to wake up in his usual manner. There's going to be a bit of, having his usual nightmares, wakes up with a little bit of a hot sweat on his brow, sort of wipes it off very quickly so that hopefully no one will see. And then
that's right, you were just sharing a room, weren't you?
Yeah. You shared a room.
Cecil will just be sat up, legs crossed, just meditating, ready for the day.
He's already done his morning yoga.
Finally, though, wait.
Oh, you're one of those people, a morning person. How dare you?
We exist.
Yeah, Twilight is definitely not a morning person. She will be like Anna at the beginning of Frozen, hair everywhere, drool coming out of her mouth. Like, why are we up so early?
Oh yes, the kidnappings. Yes, that.
Gilliana, she like is obviously just really she's really skilled and she doesn't need to sleep. that long to be at her best self, obviously. She doesn't need her beauty sleep either, because obviously she's at like she's at the maximum of that. So she's just going to be sat with her feet up on the bed with a book that she brought with her, just reading it. She's just waiting for everyone else to catch up to where she was.
Okay. Everyone other than Gilliana then can make a perception check as they wake up.
Oh, that would be a natural one.
Oh.
Ooh.
Your eyes are still covered, just crusted with sleep. You can see nothing.
That is a 6 for
That
Sinclair.
checks out.
I'm way too into my meditation to notice anything. And by that, I mean I rolled a 2.
You guys are all just getting up. You get about your day. Like, nobody really pays much attention to Gilliana as they get ready, so nobody works out that she's reading what is essentially smut.
Well, we got to do better perception next time.
You want to borrow it. So you all get up, and as you sort of come to your senses, you obviously had this plan yesterday that you were going to try and get there early, and I don't think you didn't really have so much of a plan as an idea. Who is going to want to act on this first?
I'm quite sneaky, and I can maybe, I don't know about you guys. I mean, I don't really know you guys, so I don't really know what your skills are yet. But I know personally that I'm quite sneaky. So if we wanted to go and like have a look somewhere, I'm happy to try that out. Don't know if anybody wants to come with me, or well, obviously we should all go, but I don't know who wants to do the actual sneaking part. I don't know. What do you guys think?
Not gonna lie, there was a brief panic there. I was like, it's the start of the session. Please don't split the fucking party.
I mean, I like to sneak places, but I'm not very good at it.
I can do some sneaking.
Not to point out the obvious, but I'm 9 foot tall and I weigh a lot. I'm not very good at being sneaky.
I didn't want to say anything because I think it's really important that we all get to do what we want to do, and it's an equal opportunities thing. But I was thinking that, and Twilight, maybe not you either, because
I like
I mean,
to imagine that when you mentioned sneaking, she started pulling on her sneaking onesie that she has.
My sneaking onesie with horn holes, yes.
I mean, it's a really nice onesie, but I think, if I'm going to be honest, the teeth thing really freaked me out yesterday, and I'm not really sure how to act around you.
Yeah, maybe keep the teeth to a low. We don't.
Can we not
Need
bring up
those?
the teeth? I don't want to ruin this room. I vomited enough
Sinclair,
yesterday.
Sinclair, roll a Constitution check.
Oh, Jesus.
You can roll this one at advantage because it is only minor.
Okay. 13?
You feel the bile rising at the thought of it, but you're able to control yourself. You push it back down.
Oh.
Yeah, we also need to be careful of that as well.
Yeah, I
gracious.
forgot about that. So question. The teeth give you this reaction. Is it just all body parts in general? Like, am I on a no body part ban? Is that the vibe?
I think it'll be safe to say yes. Just
Right.
don't take more than we need to.
Oh, okay.
Emphasis on the need.
Okay.
Oh, fucking hell.
Oh, brilliant.
So I think we've decided we're going to sneak somewhere, me and Cecil, but we don't. Where? Where are we going to sneak to? I think that's probably the first plan of action, is to find out where we need to go. And
I believe, wasn't it, we were going to scout the keep, weren't we? Because they're having a meeting, I believe, outside of town later on this morning.
oh yes, there's a there on isn't it a recruitment?
Yes, that's what it was.
I remember.
Yes, so if we could scout the keep, if you two sneak your way in, I mean, I'm tall, so I can, keep a watch, but that's about all I can do, really.
Get a bird's eye view on the job.
If we need to, we can wave you in if things go bad. I mean, you're probably
I
here.
prefer things not to go bad.
But
Yeah.
worst case scenario.
Yes,
Let's not talk
indeed.
about the worst case. Let's go positive mental attitude.
But we need to be
Start
prepared.
the day right, yes.
Plan for the worst, but hope for the best.
And if it all goes really bad, I've been told I'm a very good distraction.
There you are. See.
Just be wary of who you're distracting.
Oh, I can't help that. I feel like I distract everyone. It's a bit of a curse.
As she says that, the butt flap on her sneaking onesie falls open.
She's leaving it open.
Okay, so just leave it open. So luckily she's wearing it over her clothes. So I'm just going to put that one out there.
Yeah, lumpy chainmail and
with a onesie over the top. Right. You have some sort of plan. You're going to head to the keep in the center of town. I'm assuming, are you all going to head there together, or are the ones who are not sneaking going to stay back, or what's the are you all going to head close and then split up close to it so one team can keep watch?
yeah, I think stay together as much as we can.
I think make sure we can stay in sight of each other. Like, we'll be up ahead, but yeah, stay in sight.
I think right. Good idea to stay, keep a bit of distance, but stay within eye contact, so that we know what's going on. So me and Twilight, for example, could look like we're going out for a morning walk. That that's all it is. We're just on a morning jaunt around the town.
Yes, bird watching.
Exactly.
That's a pigeon. That's a pigeon. A sparrow pigeon.
Gilliana will have her hood up, and she'll just be trailing a little bit behind the group.
And Cecil, the glowing purple dragonborn, is going to do what?
So.
Well, he's going to be keeping low, keeping the glowy parts out of the way.
He's gonna pull the Avengers and put a baseball cap on, so nobody knows it's him. I'm going to assume you have some sort of robe or cloak or something you can throw on.
Yeah, there's just a hood just
shine. Yeah, so as you leave the tavern, like I said, you guys have set off break of dawn. You've got up, you've got ready, you've left. The tavern keeper that you saw last night is up, just sort of setting up the tavern as you come down. She sort of nods to you all. You see her setting out chairs and stuff. And as you step outside, it is literally break of day. The sunlight is streaming in at a shallow angle, casting long, deep shallows across the city. You can see a couple of 4 or 5 streets away from you can see towering slightly above the other buildings the keep. This is obviously a very fairly small town. It sort of was built up around the keep. It's not particularly big, and the keep itself is only, you would guess, 3 stories tall. But it's still, across all of the other taverns and businesses, it does sit quite tall above it. A staunch stonework building with unadorned edifices, sort of square walls on the outside. As you get closer, you can see off to one side there's a keep itself, and just across from it is some sort of barracks, you would guess, where the soldiers and guards are kept, sort of sleep, live, whatever you call it. And between the two is a basic training ground where they would practice exercises. Even from a distance, you can quite easily spot there are sort of guards moving about the keep, sort of doing circuits. And all of you, while you're still all together, you can all roll an investigation check.
Natural 20.
Damn, never mind everyone else. Gilliana's got this. As you're getting close, Gilliana, you can very easily spot an alleyway which would grant a fairly decent view of the keep while being far enough back with enough cover that anyone stood there probably isn't going to be noticed by the guards. You can point this out to Sinclair and Twilight if you like, somewhere where they could maybe wait and watch for a signal from you guys.
Psst! Psst! Twilight! Sinclair!
I will also point out you're still about, a good street's length away, so none of the guards can hear you.
Psst! Twilight! Sinclair!
Yes?
She's waving her arms. There's a really, really, almost too perfect, actually, kind of alleyway where you guys could, see what's going on without drawing too much attention. So maybe that's a good place for you guys to head over to while we attempt to stake out the area.
Sounds good to me. Point it out. We'll go and have a look.
Nice. Yeah, we'll sneak over.
We point it out.
Yeah, Giliana points out the location to you guys, and you can do your, as you're saying, you look like you're out in the walk, and you wait until the guards are nowhere in sight, and you sort of like step into the alley. And especially now with the early morning sun streaming in, the shadows in this alley are relatively deep. So if you sit far enough back, you've got a fairly decent view of at least two sides of the keep, and should something happen, you also have a view of the barracks in case any of the guards appear to be streaming out towards the keep for some reason. You'd have at least a good eye on what's happening. Giliana and Cecil, you guys can give me, we'll say, either a perception check to see if you can spot all of the guards, or just like a straight up, well, it was an investigation check to see if you can work out like the routes and stuff that they're walking. And while they're doing that as well, Sinclair, you can give me a perception check. Actually, just thinking, Twilight, you're there with them, so Twilight, you roll a perception check as well.
I rolled a 10.
I also rolled a 10.
17 for Sinclair.
Ooh, I actually rolled pretty good. That is a 19.
Okay, that's good. Right. Giliana and Cecil, you guys, you think you've got an idea of where all the guards are. You think you know the route they're taking. So you're doing the stakeout, you're sort of walking around, you're doing loops, you're dipping in and out of alleys, trying to get an idea of everyone else. You're going to do a circuit before you do anything else. And while they're doing that, Twilight and Sinclair, you're stood in the alley, you're keeping an eye every so often, you can sort of spot them on the periphery. There are, bearing in mind, like, it is a town, people are up and about at this hour, there are people opening their businesses, bakers and things are out stoking their ovens to make their bread and other such early morning activities that I'm aware of. So there are people moving about. While you guys are watching this and keeping an eye, you hear something behind you. Twilight hears it first. You hear what appears to be very soft footsteps in the alleyway behind you. What would Twilight do? Would you pretend you haven't heard them and wait for them to come closer, or would you immediately turn around, or would you signal Sinclair? What would you do?
I'm gonna try and tap Sinclair on the elbow, she probably isn't very sneaky, but she thinks she's being sneaky, to be like, there's someone behind us.
At that, Sinclair will sort of try to slightly turn his head, so he's kind of looking with his peripheral vision as to not, give away that they know someone's coming.
Yeah, give me a perception check then. Well, tell that. You rolled a 17. Doesn't matter. As you sort of turn your vision around, just in the periphery, you can spot somebody in further back in the alleyway in the shadows, and you can, without turning the whole way around, you can just about make out that it is the halfling from yesterday.
Sinclair will turn fully around and sort of point to him. Yeah. Sorry, it's been a while. What brings you to this neck of the woods?
By the time you turn around, they're at this point they've sat down in a crate and they've crossed their legs and they've got one arm resting on their chin with their hand in their sort of elbows resting on their thighs and their hand in their chin. Well, I was wondering what you were doing whenever you left the tavern so early this morning. Thought I would follow you. And they sort of raise an eyebrow. You can tell they've got some very harsh opinions on what you're doing.
We're just out, taking in the morning air, watching the birds.
Aye, do you see many birds about the keep then? I see your two friends skulking around as well. They looking for birds?
Yes, of course they are. Everybody likes bird watching. Where have you been? Living under a rock?
Loads of pigeons.
They smile quite wide and they put two fingers in their mouth and whistle. And you hear a couple of whistles, not trying to draw attention, a signal. You can recognize it as a signal. They're not trying to get somebody to come over, but they make a short, sharp whistle. And you recognize a few of them echoed around nearby, or almost encircling the keep. You lot are new to town. And would it be right in saying that you're here to help with what's going on?
Yes, you could say that.
You see their face sort of drop. It's look, something's been happening to this town. It's not the way it was. And we think it's got something to do with the guy running the place. If you can promise us that you'll do something about it, we'll help you out.
Sinclair is just going to look at both ends of the alley, look over towards the keep, see if there's any sign of any guards nearby before he says anything.
There's none. Well, you guys have been even Twilight's been keeping an eye while this has been going on. I would imagine. Actually, no, I'm not going to assume anything. Twilight, while this conversation has been happening, would you have been keeping an eye on the keep, or would you have just turned your full attention to this conversation?
No, she's got a job to do. She's not stealthing, but she's still going to keep an eye out.
Cool. So you would have recognized that none of the guards have like approached this area. They're just continuing on the route. There's nobody like relatively close to you. So Pete, you've been talking to her. You have no idea. It's up to you whether you ask like Twilight or whatever, but you have no idea. If you look over your shoulder, there's no guard there.
Sinclair will trust Twilight doing her job, and we'll say, "Are we still clear?"
Yes, I think so. There's also a lot of pigeons here, like a lot. I'm kind of worried.
See, I bird watching, and then he'll turn towards the halfling. We were in a town to the south of here yesterday, and people with the insignia of Knights Valour keep turned up and started kidnapping people. We followed the trail back here, and all I can say is from the vibes we've got from this town is there's some sort of sickness here. It doesn't feel right. Why would your lord send someone out to kidnap people?
Vibe check. She looks, she nods to what you said and say, we've been hearing stories about towns being attacked. They say it's monsters. But we see a lot of soldiers coming through, people we've never seen before. They appear one day and they're gone the next. We think, well, some of us at least think that something's happening. Those of us have been here too long and spend too long in the city. It seems to wear you down so that you can't think straight. You can't get on with things. You just get worse and worse. So I believe you. And I've forgotten what the question was.
No, he'd said about he told them about yesterday's incident in the south.
Oh yeah, you asked about why would a lord do that or whatever, but
Yeah.
I don't know what Lord Valour here has been doing or why he's doing it. All I know is that something isn't right, and she turns and like looks over your shoulder towards the keep, and I'm pretty sure the source of it is in there.
Yes, that's what we thought as well. We thought we would get up when no one was watching. Obviously, that didn't work, and take a look around.
Well, it takes a lot to get past us, but the guards, on the other hand, they're quite easy. She gets up, stands her full height, and like, dusts her trousers off, holds a hand out to shake yours.
Yes, Sinclair will put his hand out.
The name's Devotion. Devotion O'Hare.
I was hoping that someone would ask her name. I was like, maybe we should ask what her name is.
I've gotten used to the fact that people don't ask names. They're just going to fucking introduce themselves now.
Oh, don't worry. It was on my mind, but you did it anyway.
Sorry, DM, am I within earshot of this?
Oh, absolutely not, no.
Okay, it's fine.
No, you and Kaziso are like circling the keep. Mm-hmm. This is all sort of happening as you two are like tracking out their paths. This conversation is happening while you two are like circling and trying to like stake out the paths and work out what the routes are. Because like, a guard doesn't do his entire route in a couple of minutes. It's going to take, you guys are going to be looking for about 20 minutes, half an hour here to try and work out where these guys are going.
Yes, nice to meet you, Sinclair.
I'm Twilight.
It's a pleasure to meet you both. But like I was saying, it's hard to get past us. But these guards, on the other hand, well, they can be quite easy. She puts her fingers in the mouth and whistles again, this time a different signal, a different trill. And when she does, a bunch of other halflings, humans, mostly sort of quite young, sort of children, adolescents, also like swarm the square around the keep. Some of them are running up to the guards and like pestering them and trying to like grab things off of them. And the guards just, they start shouting, chasing the kids, and you just see them all just sort of disperse and run out of the square. When the two of you look back to Devotion, she just smiles, gives you a little salute, and dips off back down the alley.
She's so cool.
So what that looked like to both Giliana and Kazisil was, as you were staking out watching the guards go around, you first heard a whistle, followed by several more whistles, which was a bit odd. And then you heard another whistle, and then a bunch of children ran into the square, seemed to almost attack the guards, run off, and the guards chased them. There are currently no guards in the square around the keep.
Wow, the birds in this town really are really talented at dispersing guards.
I don't think those were birds.
Okay. What was it then?
Kids, I said.
Oh, did we see the kid? Yeah, we didn't see the kids whistling.
No, you didn't hear them whistling, but you saw the kids run. Oh, you meant the whistling was the bird, right? Never mind. So you guys have been like staking out the keep while you were watching the guards. As you've done like your circuits, you can spot one front, what appears to be like the front main door where most people would sort of come in and out to head through what would be like the normal entryway. You also see what appears to be a servant's door where the staff would come in, presumably to like a kitchen or, servants' quarters area. Those seem to be the only two entrances other than several windows. Obviously, as I mentioned, this is a 3-story tall building, but it is a keep. It is sort of designed not to be broken into. So even though you can see several windows on the floors above, you think it would be quite hard to climb them, and even if you did, you would probably be spotted.
Mm. So what do you think, Cecil? Which way are we going in?
Possibly. I mean...
There's always a possibility.
We can see all the guards that were out here have gone, but we don't know how many are behind those doors.
That's a good point. Well, there's only one way to find out. And that is to... Oh, God.
Should we get the others to come down now, or...
Ooh.
There's no one here. So...
Yeah, that's a good idea. Now there's no one here, we should maybe get them to come.
I look down the alley and try waving the others down.
I'll help.
You guys, both of you stood in the courtyard, waving, signaling a plane to come in. You guys have been keeping an eye. You can see the two of them sort of like
thumbs up.
When the kids call all the guards around, you see the two of them sort of like gingerly step into the courtyard and look around, going, "What the fuck just happened?" And then they look over to where they know you're hiding, so like wave you two over.
We should go, right? Right?
There was a lot of children. just came out of nowhere.
Children and pigeons. They should put that on like this town's tourist information. See children, see pigeons, and feel depressed.
Come to Knights Valour, see the pigeons, meet the child orphan crime ring, feel depressed.
I'm sold. Let's go. And I'm gonna try and sneak walk. I'm kind of like the Grinch when he
You know what? Fuck it. I'm gonna write this down. I'm gonna make a stupid fucking postcard. You're gonna
oh my god, I need it. So yeah, just gonna try and sneak into the square as sneakily as possible as I can in my chainmail.
At this point, I'm just standing not so stealthily because there's no one around, so just watching you try and walk in so stealthily and just like, okay.
Listen.
Yeah, Gilliana's nodding and giving you a thumbs up, giving Twilight a thumbs up, and she's like, yeah, keep doing that. That's a thing.
In Emperor's New Groove, when Kronk is trying to sneak out of the palace and is ducking behind stuff and doing his own. That's what Twilight's doing. Super sneak.
Perfect. And I'd imagine that Sinclair, realizing that there's nobody watching, is just walking along behind her.
Yeah, Sinclair is deep in thought. There was a lot of children. Just can't confound it.
Where did they come from?
Yeah, exactly.
So you all approach the keep. Are you, Gilliana and Kazisa, are you stood near the front door, the back door, sort of between the two? Where are you?
I'd probably say not the front, maybe close to the back door.
Yeah, say between the two, but closer to the back, yeah.
Fair enough. So you guys sort of congregate near what appears to be the servants' quarters door. Without even having to get close to it, you can see it as a standard door handle that appears to be a lock, but obviously you've not been up and inspected it yet. But as you guys recongregate, do you have a conversation, or are you still sort of trying to be stealthy and not saying anything?
When the kids came about, would we have noticed anyone coming out the main door, or?
No, nobody has opened any of the doors. It was literally just it literally looked like the guards who were doing you guys had sort of at this point, you think was it a 10 you both rolled on your investigation? Yeah. You think you had worked out where all of the guards were stationed outside, and you're pretty sure you saw all of them run off in different directions chasing the children. In fact, where you guys are all still standing now, you can still hear them shouting things like, "Oi, come back here!" in the area around you. Just like that accent.
Loved it.
Weirdest thing happened out here.
Yeah.
We heard a couple of whistles, and kids came out of nowhere and took all the goods.
That whistle was the call of our ally.
Really? Did they have a group name or anything?
Well, she did introduce herself to us, but I just can't confound the children.
So many children!
Well, that makes this part easier.
Her name was Devotion O'Hare. She also wants to stop the madness of this town, so therefore we want to. She's an ally of ours.
So it's us and a gang of children.
Yes.
I'm feeling very confident about
liking
this.
these odds.
What more could you
What
need?
odds? Yes.
I mean,
Yeah.
it's working so far, so we shouldn't be complaining.
Do we want to test the door to see if it's locked?
Well, the main door's that way. I'd probably advise not going to that one, but there's this back door here. We could try this one, but I don't know. What do you guys think?
I mean, there's no time like I feel like the only option now is for us to go into this building. So, Gilliana is going to start looking at the lock on the door. Is it locked? Is the door locked?
If you're going to go and try the door, then you will find that it is currently locked.
Okay. Gilliana's going to try and unlock the door.
Okay, give me a thieves' tools check.
While you're doing this, I'm gonna press my ear to the door, see if I can listen inside.
All right. While she starts fiddling with the lock, while Gilliana is attempting to inspect the lock, Cecil, you can press your ear up against the door. You can give us a perception check.
Nat 20.
Nice. Before you tell me the result, Gilliana, Twilight, did you take bless or anything?
I took guidance.
Would you like to give Gilliana
Yes,
guidance?
I will go up to her as I see her pulling out the thieves' tools, and I'll be like, "May the spirit of Sir Vincent, the gentleman thief, guide you as you unlock this door."
I like how it's not Sulune, it's Sir Vincent the Gentleman Thief is the guide for this one, which to be fair enough. So what does it look like when, bearing in mind your gift comes from Sulune, not Sir Vincent, what does it look like when you bestow guidance upon Gilliana?
Who's to say Sir Vincent isn't Slune in drag? Anyway, she kind of...
Do you know what? Do you know what the answer to that question is? I am. I am the one to say. This is my world.
So how she does it is she...
And turns out you're right.
I knew it! So she kind of waves her hand and little stars appear in front of Gilliana's face. And she will tap one of them and it'll float into Gilliana's forehead.
You feel a slight tingling sensation, Gilliana, but you feel more confident.
Oh, thank you, Twilight. And she's going to just rub her forehead just in case there's something on there. She doesn't trust Twilight not to have, put something on her forehead. What does that give me?
It gives you a D4 to your roll.
So you can make your roll and then add 1d4 to it.
Okay.
So for the listeners at home who might be new to D&D, guidance is a cantrip, which grants an ability check 1d4 added on to the check.
I am proficient in Thieves' Tools. Does that give me anything?
That adds your proficiency bonus to the roll, plus as Thieves' Tools use your dexterity modifier, it'll be your dex, plus your proficiency bonus, plus your roll, plus 1d4.
Oh my gosh.
Math.
Okay. Oh god. Okay. It's going to be
It's
quite...
it's like, as I like to tell people, D&D is just acting, but with math.
And
a lot of math.
It's going to be a high one. Dexterity.
That's good.
Yeah.
Yes.
Oh my gosh. 27.
Not gonna lie, the check on this was quite low.
Oh, what a waste.
Yeah, just to rub it in. after getting the guidance, actually, you know what? Before we get to it, because obviously Cecil did do his perception check. So while Twilight is giving Gilliana her guidance, going through that whole thing, you sort of step between Gilliana and the door, press your ear up against it, and you sort of still your body. You press yourself up against the wood. You can almost like Daredevil level of sort of like, you can almost see inside of the room just from listening, and there's no one in there. It's silent, dead silence, nothing in there. But you're 100% sure of that. Do you tell anyone, or do you just go, yeah, all right, go?
Well, it's quiet in there. We don't have to worry about anything.
Unless they're just being quiet, but then we'll deal with that.
I am certain that we're good.
No, watch and find out I've been fucking with him, and the room is full of people. No.
It's actually a surprise party.
They're all just waiting for you. No. He checks it. He steps away from the door, having told you all this. And Gilliana, you have no sooner touched the lock, you may as well have just breathed on it. And you hear a click, and it's unlocked.
Ta-da!
Oh my god, you are like Sir Vincent the Gentleman Thief.
And I'm gonna check, see if there's any traps.
Ooh.
I mean, you've unlocked the door at this point. If you'd like to check for traps, that will be an investigation check.
Yeah. Can't be too safe. There's no such thing.
I feel like while this is happening, I'm already stepping inside.
You've unlocked the door and went, that's unlocked, and then you've just started to look for traps because he just opens the door.
Well, it was 14.
You don't spot any sort of trap or anything that you can see.
Okay, it's clear.
I can tell you that from in here.
Yeah, you've opened the door inside. It's fine, guys. Right. Hey guys, just jumping in here very quickly to shout out a couple of things again. Just want to shout out again the Journey to the Centre of Eregarth on Kickstarter. We'll have another link to them in the description, but I just wanted to give them one last shout out because the Kickstarter will be closing on the 28th. So if you're listening to this on the release day, you have until Monday if you'd like to look into this and back the project. As mentioned before, I have looked into it. It looks really interesting. There's a ton of content there, so definitely recommend. And on top of that, I'd just like to remind everyone again, we are running 2 competitions currently. Check out the information on our website, but essentially if you leave us a review anywhere on any podcasting site, we will automatically enter you to win a set of the gold Chaos Dragon dice from our sponsor DN Dice. But just remember, there really isn't a good way to aggregate reviews, so if you do leave us one, drop us a message. It can be in our Discord, on Twitter, in an email. Just let us know you've left us a review and link us to it so we can put you in the running for the competition. Second one is much simpler. Just tweet about the show, tweet at us, tweet about us, use the hashtag ModifedRoll, and we will enter you in with a chance to win a set of the Shepherd's Tempest dice from DN Dice. Again, we have photos of those on our Twitter, on the website, so you can get a look at what you might be winning. Just as a reminder with that, don't forget there are certain tiers on our Patreon that will give you extra entries or automatically enter you to any competition we run, even if you don't participate. But that's all for this week. I'll let you get back to the action. When the door swings open, you can see inside what is apparently a kitchen, but even a cursory examination shows that the room has seen little use. There's obviously the room is covered in dust. It's not been cleaned properly. There appears to be some tracks in the dust and dirt where people have been coming in. There are some dirty equipment that's obviously been used to make like a meal, but I don't think any of you have really spent time in like a keep's kitchen or in like a any sort of kitchen that tends to care for several people. But it seems to be both in utter disuse, but also has a very specific use happening in here where somebody is in making food but doing very little else. There doesn't seem to be any cleaning going on or anything in here. There's also on the opposite side of the room another door.
God, we actually just do not want to take this job because it looks like they're feeding them like really dusty food. I don't know about you guys, but I don't fancy that.
Yeah, this place isn't very hygienic.
Yeah, it's not very sanitary.
No, it's not. I mean, Twilight's still kind of looking at Giliana with like anime sparkle eyes from seeing how good she was at opening the lock. Like, oh my god, senpai.
Teach
Yeah.
me, senpai.
Should we try that door now? There doesn't look to be much going on in here. That certainly doesn't look to be used that much. So should we try that door?
For a keep like this with that many soldiers?
Maybe they don't eat.
This is very strange.
So, I would say because Sinclair would probably know this just from your training and stuff you've done. A keep like this wouldn't tend to feed the soldiers. Across the training ground there is a barracks, which is probably where the soldiers have eaten. You would expect to
scratch
keep
that from the record.
Yeah, just as general knowledge, you would expect that the keep kitchens are only used to feed those who stay in the keep. Which in this case would be any sort of that this place is ruled by a knight, so you would know that it would be the knight and any family or guests that he would have, or any specific servants to the keep would eat in the kitchens, but the soldiers and the guards would eat in the barracks. So actually, with I would say probably both Giliana and Sinclair make an insight check.
15?
19.
Okay, both of you could, seeing this room, knowing what you know about places like this, you have the distinct impression that there are far fewer people present in this keep than you would expect to be. Whether that is servants caring for the place or people who need to be cared for by the servants, you have a distinct impression that there are a lot fewer people here than you would generally expect.
This is very strange. Even a keep of this size needs staff.
I know, it's just everything about here is eerily quiet.
I mean, that suits the town, I guess.
Yeah. And when you say layer of dust, DM, how thick of a layer of dust are we talking?
Roll an investigation check while I make up a number.
Natural 20 on the dust check.
Hey!
A long fucking time.
Oh yeah.
I don't know how thick dust gathers, but you can tell.
Dust
can
can
pile
gather
up.
to be half a centimeter.
Other than you can tell the stove itself has seen some use. There are dirty utensils on top of it. The actual stove front itself has obviously had fresh fuel and stuff put in it. The sink, sort of fantasy sink basin, I don't know, where they have clean dishes appears to have been used, but there appears to be a set amount of sort of saucepan, cutlery, plates that have been in use. You can see cupboards and storage areas that are full of stuff that are covered in dust. There appears to have been a very set amount of things that are sort of seeing a repeated use. And the track sort of going through this area seems to be door, stove, sink, door, stove, sink. The rest of the room seems to have seen very little use for a very long time.
We should probably keep to the
well-worn path.
walked paths.
This is dusty. I grew up in a library. Well, I spent most of my childhood in a library, and this is dusty. So I know it's dusty. Whoop.
Yeah, it's the same with growing up I grew up in a church, and yes, dust is a thing that I know as well. This is a lot of dust.
I like that you two have both just implied that the places you grew up didn't fucking clean.
I was going to say, I'm not used to dust because we actually had staff and they...
Fuck you, I'm not poor.
No.
Back in the monasteries, we had staff as well.
The staff was you.
Yes.
You cleaned the monastery.
Yes.
Yeah.
We kept it clean.
Fucking staff at the monastery, yet you, the children.
It's giving me Paris Hilton in the "Stop Being Poor" t-shirt. Come on.
Fuck you, I'm not poor. That's the episode title. Fuck you, I'm not poor. So yeah, you sort of work this out. You can see tracks. I will say as well, there's probably a few tracks lead to this door, but you can tell less so than the rest of them from your investigation check. You can tell there are sort of tracks that lead to this door, but they are a lot shallower in terms of dust moved than the ones that go from the other door into the room.
Maybe we should get out of this room and have a look behind the door. Maybe.
Yeah,
No,
Good idea.
Let's spend another 15 minutes talking about this room. That's fine.
yeah. Let's spend.
It's not
20
It's
progress
actually
at
an
all.
art installation. I think it's a really interesting.
I definitely think we should leave this room because it's making me want to like sneeze because there's just so much dust. So
I just go up to the door and try the door first.
The door is unlocked. It doesn't even have a lock. It's an internal door.
So go through.
You walk across the room. I'm assuming, like you said, you're trying to keep to the existing tracks to leave as few sort of pieces of evidence that you've been here. Something like this, I'm not going to make you do a check for it. It's not like you're going to suddenly slip and fall into the dust. You're going to step where the feet already are.
Dust is very
without
slippery.
Doing any, yeah, whoa, would you fall backwards, start making a snow angel in the dust?
I mean,
no,
don't tempt
you
me.
walk across the room. It's done. You open the door, and on the other side is again another room that seems to be in a lot of disuse. It appears to be a dining room where there's still a layer of dust. There seems to be one very particular area on the table, one chair, one location where the dust appears to have been swept clear, that appears to have seen some use. The further into the keep you move, though, you realise that the feeling that permeates throughout the town has become more oppressive. It's almost cloying at this point. You feel as if you're moving through an invisible fog. It doesn't physically affect your movement, but you can feel it constantly sliding over your body as you walk through the rooms here. You also realise when you step into this room that, it wasn't really noticeable in the kitchens, because kitchens are just kitchens, it's for staff. They don't tend to feature anything in the way of decoration. But you realise you stepped into the dining room that, the room is completely unadorned. There are no tapestries hanging from the wall. There are no carpets on the floor to, provide any warmth or comfort. The windows are dirty and they leave the room in a perpetual gloom. And it requires torches to even see clearly by. So even now with, as the light is streaming into the city, the room is in almost darkness. Well, not quite darkness, but almost. You can just about make out the room. And as you peer closely, you can see the thick layers of dust on the places that haven't been used. And you can just about make out the one location that has been. And again, there's a track that moves from the doorway into the kitchen to this location, and then back out into the door that you can see to the left as you walk in.
Sorry, is that the other location, the other door, or is it somewhere else in the room?
So you can sort of tell from these tracks that somebody's obviously come in through the door that you can see to your left. They've walked into the kitchen, they've prepared food, or whether it's the same person or not, somebody has prepared food, walked back into this room, brought it to the table, to the, we'll say probably the far end of the table, where they have eaten or provided food for somebody else to eat. They've returned that to the kitchen and then left through the door that's currently on your left as you walk in.
This place is weird, guys.
Yeah, try to work out what's going on. I don't know about you guys, but this place is depressing.
Oh, for sure. It's very strange. I just feel... And does anybody else feel like more weird now that we're
I
inside?
feel like I'm like swimming in mud. It's like not cute.
Somehow this town has gotten worse by being in here.
Yeah, for sure. It's really weird.
Give me the ick.
I agree. Let's move on. Let's get out of here quickly as we can.
I agree. Let's go to the next door.
Okay. You move towards the other door. Did anyone... You said you opened the door. Anyone checking this one, or are you just opening it?
I'll check.
Okay. When I say check, are you checking for traps? Are you checking if it's locked? Are you listening for somebody on the other side?
I'll listen for somebody on the other side.
Cool. Perception check, please. I don't know why I asked if you would check if it's locked. There's no lock on the door. Can't be locked.
The deeper we go in, Sinclair's going to try and move a bit stealthier as well.
Are you in plate mail?
In his armour.
Yeah, roll at disadvantage.
17.
You press your ear to the door and hear nothing. Silence. Ringing silence.
I'm just going to open the door.
Sinclair, I can see the face you're making. What was your stealth check?
Ooh. Oh dear.
Lovely. You're thinking, I need to be careful. I need to be quiet. You know that your armor shifts and clanks, so you hug yourself around your armor, trying to stop it from moving. And then as you step forward, you, for some reason, completely forgot there's a table next to you and just bang your hip off the edge of the table, making a dong noise.
That makes me jump, and I can't help but yell out.
Oh, okay.
Just
Fair enough.
Just
fucking throw yourself under the bus here. Okay.
No, it's just like just a reaction.
Yeah. I mean, I feel like Twilight's the same. We'll be like,
Right. Do you know what? Having had Giliana already, I like to do it. He makes the clang, then Kazisa goes, ah! And then Twilight goes, ah! And you going, ah! I'm going to point out, having had Giliana already rolled a check, there was nobody on the other side of the room. The clang was going to go unnoticed. The fact that two people yelled, I'm going to roll a perception check. You're lucky. I rolled a 4.
It's for kids outside that have come back.
Giliana, your ear is pressed to the door and you're concentrating entirely on listening. You're putting every ounce of your willpower into listening. You can hear silence and then clang!
What the fuck are you guys doing?
I got scared.
You pause for a second, put your ear back to the door, and realize you can still hear nothing.
Guys, I didn't think I was going to have to say this, but we are in a building that we do not own this building. We're not meant to be here. I think we just need to just take it all down a notch, and before we go through this door, maybe try and keep it down. Okay? And then I'm gonna open the door. I mean, fuck it at this point.
Right. You open the door. You did put your ear back to the door, like I say, and you did have a quick check. You heard nothing. The doorway opens into what appears to be a sort of not an entryway, but an adjoining hallway. As the door opens, directly in front of you is another door, and you can sort of tell from where you are in the building that on the other side of the door must be pretty close to the front sort of entrance. So you assume it must be some sort of entryway. There's another door directly to your left, and then a stairway on your right.
Oh, that staircase is looking pretty good.
They look important.
But assuming it's a staircase that goes up.
Yes, I should have said that. It goes up.
Okay.
So judging by the door in front of me, I could assume that's towards the front door.
Yeah, like I said, you sort of worked out that when you open the door, the one directly in front of you sort of leads towards what will be the front door. As you come through the door, the one on your left is somewhere you can see the map. Yeah, you know.
It's me to the party. I'm assuming that's towards the front door, and he went this way to avoid the front door, so I'm guessing maybe we shouldn't go that way.
I agree. I think we avoid that front door because we just don't want anybody walking in and seeing us here. Especially because we're not being very stealthy today, guys. I don't know what's happening, but I think play it safe.
I did try.
So what gives you that impression?
The clang, the screaming, the clanging.
And also, if we get in trouble, I don't think I can whistle as good as that woman, so I don't think I can get the children to come save us.
Yes, that's true. The children will not save us this time.
Oh, the children were whistling.
No. Devotion whistled, then the children appeared.
Oh, I thought it was the birds that were whistling.
Devotion was a pigeon, yes.
That makes a lot more sense.
Birds that control children?
Yes. We've uncovered a really big conspiracy.
I'm kind of curious as to what's behind this door. I mean, both stairs look important, but it's good to know
Maybe we scout out
the layout of this place.
Can I just point out, I love the fact that every single one of you are playing absolute fucking idiots.
That is our right.
Not one brain cell between you. As I fucking love it.
I mean, to be fair, I think quite a few of us, this is like our first adventure, sometime.
Yeah.
The
Yeah.
big adventure.
I mean, this is my first adventure outside of a monastery, so...
Same with me.
Yeah, but still, there's naivete, and then there's thick as two short planks.
I'm gonna press my ear up to this left door.
Okay, make a perception check.
16.
You can hear muffled voices through this door.
No.
Let's not go through this way. There's people behind me.
Okay.
Okay.
The stairs it is.
For those listening at home, I had 3 people on webcam give the okay signal.
Gilliana gives the okay symbol.
Yeah, so does Sinclair.
I'm pointing to the door behind me, and then I point to the stairs.
Gilliana she starts to make her way towards the staircase stealthily.
Stealthily.
Oh, we did
Yes.
So
stealth.
at this point, I need everyone to make a stealth check. Now,
Oh no! Should I just go?
So just for listeners at home, a lot of people who do group stealth checks, what they will say is like, your stealth check is only as good as the lowest score. If I ask the party to do a group stealth check, I want it to be a group check. So what we're going to do is, very roughly, I'm not going to sit here with a calculator, roughly average out the stealth checks of the party. Judging from Gilliana's reaction, I'm going to guess that wasn't great.
I haven't rolled.
Okay, cool. All right, never mind. So everyone make me a stealth check.
That's a 19.
Is mine a disadvantage?
Oh, good start.
Oh, here we go.
plus 4, so that is 23.
Disadvantage.
Good. Yes, and those of you wearing chain... Well, actually,
No,
it's chainmail.
mine's-
I can never remember. Is chainmail?
Yeah,
Yeah.
chain is disadvantage.
It is.
So
Yeah.
both Twilight and Sinclair will be
It's
rolling
like
at disadvantage.
four. Like-
Bollocks. Mine's 24.
That's 23.
It's my stealth.
So my first roll was 18, but my second was 6, and I have a -1 to stealth, so that is 5.
So we're currently averaging about 10.
I rolled a good solid 8.
I know I said I wouldn't sit here with a calculator, but I need to know if this is
I
above
have
10 or
I have
not.
a I have a calculator. Do you want me to do it?
Please.
25 add 8 add 5
And yours,
add
Cecil was 27, did you say?
23.
23.
I would have said, I thought it was 27, I would have agreed to that, but go ahead.
I'm honest.
Yeah, so what's your average?
15.
Okay. You guys sneak toward the stairs, those in heavy armor, making a bit more noise, but you do not hear any raised voices, you don't hear any scuffling. Obviously, because he thought this one isn't pressing his ear up against the doors, but you don't hear any commotion from their side as you make your way up the stairway. You do not appear to have aroused any suspicion. As you walk up the stairwell, as you ascend the stairway, as you reach the second floor, you come out in what appears to be some sort of common area. Very similar to the kitchen, there appears to be very little use made of this area. The hearth stands ashen and dusty as it hasn't been lit for some time. The chairs and the tables nearby appear to have seen no real use in a very long time. This is another room that appears to have just been ignored, save for a set of footprints that walk through it towards a hallway at the far end. The stairs also, I should say, do continue up for another floor if you decide to go that direction.
I mean, maybe we should check out what those footsteps lead to? Question mark.
When standing on the stairs, the hallway you're talking about is at the far end of the room. It appears to be quite narrow. You can, where you're standing, you can see one doorway sort of leading off of it to the side. It is, doesn't appear to take up much room. Most of this floor appears to be taken up by this common area.
Is it worth checking just to see what they are?
I mean, possibly.
Well, I don't suspect we'll find a lot more of this keep's not really been in use. I don't suspect these rooms would have been.
Yeah, I agree. Maybe we carry on up.
It does seem to be movement going that way, so there could be some importance around there, so maybe one of the quieter people should maybe just poke their head around the corner in that hallway.
By all means,
Says one of the quieter people.
I can go and have a look. Gilliana will just she'll walk across to have a look.
Your sneak check that you made on the ground floor will still cover you here. So you walk across the room, and when you approach this narrow hallway, or the short hallway, you see a door on the left and the right.
She's gonna pull out a no. She's gonna go and have a look at the right hand side door.
Yeah, it seems to be a standard door. This one does appear to have a lock on it, though. You don't know if it's
Ooh.
locked without checking, though.
Can I check the lock? See if it's locked.
It appears to be locked.
Can I see any footprints? Which way are the...
Yes, of the two doors, you can see that the footprints lead to this one, the one that is locked.
My instincts were correct. Can I hear anything?
Make a perception check.
Oh my gosh, I'm rolling great tonight. 22.
You can hear nothing from the other side.
Okay. She's gonna poke her head back round to the others and go, in an exaggerated whisper, she's gonna go, "The door is locked. I can't hear anything. Do you want me to have a look? Should we all have a look?"
If you can't hear anyone, I'm going to trust your judgment.
Twilight's just nodding.
Maybe we should
If
head
it's locked and
over there and join you.
That was a very slopey shoulders answer. If something goes wrong, it's not my fault.
No, I'm trusting. I'm trusting you.
Okay, she's gonna try and unlock the door while the rest make their way over.
Okay, roll a sleight of hand check.
17.
Click, and the door unlocks.
She's gonna open the door and poke her head in.
You open the door. I don't know why I did that creak noise. The door wouldn't creak. Inside appears to be a bedroom. This room has seen some use. The windows again are still downstairs, grimy and not letting a lot of light through, but the bed seems to have some use. The bed seems to have had some use, although it hasn't been made. It's still in a rumple from where somebody has slept in it. There is a wardrobe to the left that appears to be open. You can see clothes inside that have been rifled through. Some appear to have fallen to the inside of the wardrobe. A hearth that does appear to have some ash in it has apparently been lit recently. Although it hasn't been tended to properly, there is still ash gathering in the grate that hasn't been cleaned properly. And in the corner to the left of where you've walked in, there appears to be another stairwell going up. Although this isn't like the main stairwell you came up, which is like a big, a proper stone spiral one. This appears to be a much smaller, narrower staircase. From your upbringing, you could probably assume it leads to some sort of washroom or something that's joined onto this room.
Is there any can I see any bookshelves or anything?
Joe, I would say you can see a desk. Yeah, there would be a desk sort of on the far side of the bed from where you are.
Can I see anything on the desk, papers or anything?
There appears to be some parchments. Are you at this point? Are you walking into the room, or are you
Yeah.
sort of looking about the room? All right. As you walk into the room, you can head towards the desk, and there are some parchments, ink and quill and stuff sitting. There appears to have been several notes that have been partially completed.
Can I read the notes? See what they say?
Yes. The top note reads, "The latest batch are ready. They can be collected in a 10-day. We will be awaiting your arrival. Be aware." And the note ends there as if it hasn't been completed yet.
Is there any date on it?
No. No signature or anything. It appears to be a note that's been in the process of being written.
I'm going to take it and put it in my pocket.
Brilliant. I now have to remember what I just said.
Is there anything else? Can I see anywhere else that there's whoever's been in there's been, or?
You can see that this room has seen some use. There is a chair where somebody has apparently sat there. The bed has been used, the wardrobe has been used, the hearth has been used. Give me an insight check. I would actually say you and Sinclair could probably make this insight check if you've come into the room as well.
Sinclair would certainly be standing near the doorway.
Yeah, if you're looking into the room, you can both give me this check.
18.
Yeah. So that is a 16.
Right. Both of you can judge by the fit of the clothes, the sort of the finery in the room. This is probably the bedroom of the Knight of the Keep.
Ooh. I don't know any. I'm trying to think what we should be looking for. That will give away what the fuck's happening.
I mean, so far, you've seen the kitchen, the dining room, and the bedroom.
I just kind of want to look because I'm going to turn to Sinclair. Gilliana's going to turn to Sinclair.
Maybe you need to look in the conservatory and look for the wrench and Mrs. Plum.
Gilliana is going to turn to Sinclair and she's going to go, I don't know about you, but I don't know a lot about magic or anything like that, but I don't know if, like, something just seems very off. I don't know if we need to look for, like, does anything feel, like, are you a magic user?
No. I know a little bit of the arcane, but not a lot, from what I read in books.
Okay, right. So, DM question, would I, because of my knowledge on my knowledge on the war, would I know any distinct like markers of like demonic nature?
Yeah, I know where you're going. You, like, just because you're specifically not magically disposed, you couldn't, like, feel demonic magic because there's a spell for that. But you would recognize symbols, markings, things that would denote whether this was, like, a demon. So, if
or like a smell and stuff, like sulfur. I was thinking sulfur, but I didn't know if that was what happens in D&D or not.
That's a very Christian sort of view on demons. No, we'll say that, having been taught about them, that you would be able to recognize their effect on the prime material plane. So you can make an investigation check, and you can we'll let you try and work out if this is like a demonic influence on this place or not.
Oh god, okay. Investigation. What was it?
Yes. Investigation, which is under intelligence.
Yeah. Oh shit. Okay. 3.
Yeah, you look around the room, it appears that somebody sleeps in here. You've obviously found their note. There doesn't really appear to be any sort of indication of, you're specifically looking for someone demonic, so you don't find anything demonic.
This just seems like a really messy room.
With how weird this place is, Sinclair is going to drop to his knees where he is, like he did in the previous town, put his hands straight together, his eyes will glow like the sun, and he's going to use Divine Sense to try and see if there's any Celestials, Fiends, or Undead, or anything around here.
So what can you sense?
You know the location, any Celestial, Fiend, or Undead?
You do not, so I'm assuming at this point, are you stepping into the room, are you staying in the doorway? And what's the range on the spell?
Stay in the doorway. It's 60 feet.
Okay. As you stand in the doorway, 60 feet will take you in, this isn't a huge keep. From where you're standing, you're pretty sure with the range of the spell you could take in, bearing in mind you're now on the second of the third floor, you think you could take in most of the keep at this point. You kneel down, clasp your hands, and start recounting a prayer to Pelor, which will allow you to sense the location of fiends, undead, celestial creatures in the vicinity. And as you do, those around you can see your eyes glowing. What colour do you say your eyes glow whenever you pray to Pelor? Was it a bright white, a light colour?
His eyes are just pupilless white anyway, but they just glow, bright white.
So a bright light like the sun emanates from your eyes, and you can feel your senses almost like a pulse emanate out from you. You can feel it passing through the floor and the walls, but nothing returns. You can't sense anything celestial, fiendish, or undead in the area around you.
Okay, interesting. Sinclair will stand up again. Well, there's nothing that I can detect in the vicinity.
I think we're good in this room.
I think even though you haven't detected anything, I feel we should still go ahead with caution. There's a lot of weirdness going on, so...
Oh no, absolutely. Yes, let's continue searching.
Should we go upstairs, or I mean, we didn't check the room behind us, but I'm guessing that's of no importance. But shall we go upstairs?
Is there any dust tracks to the other room? Or
You
was
can
it...
tell that there, at least not as much as there is to this room, because obviously the hallway is quite narrow. It's quite difficult to tell between one door and the other which direction they were going. But even at a glance, you can see that there's a lot less of a disturbance going the other way than there is to this way.
Well, we could check the other room, or we could, as you say, move on upstairs.
Yeah, I feel like I saw the footsteps going this way, and I felt there was some importance. But we've checked here. Maybe we should proceed upstairs and see what's going on.
I agree.
Okay, so you guys head back towards the central stairwell. I'm assuming you're going to head up again to the next floor.
Yeah.
Yes.
You continue ascending the stairway until you reach the next level. The stairwell opens up onto a long corridor. There's a door on the left immediately as you come up the stairs, and a further one to the right further down the hallway. Again, the floors and walls as well seem to be caked with dust. There seems to be a much deeper path tread to the closest door on the left, but there does appear to have still been a path cut to the door further down on the right, although it doesn't seem to be as deep in the dust as the initial path that you spotted.
Another dusty room.
Yeah, they really need to hire a cleaner. Like, damn.
Or just do it themselves.
True. Which door do we want to go through?
So you said the tracks were deeper for the left door, was it?
Yeah, the door to the left appears to have much deeper, more well-worn tracks through the dust.
I think we're having more look in the... Is there anything in this room that looks...
It's just a hallway.
Oh, it's a hallway.
Solid walls to the left and right, just a door in each one.
Okay, should probably make our way up to the door that has the clearest path.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Okay, you're pretty much right next to it. It's literally just a few feet down the hall in front of you. Is somebody just going to open it, or is somebody going to... Just because you've been doing it quite regularly, just want to check, are you going to check to make sure there's nothing there?
Sinclair will have a listen.
Yeah, I'm going to press my ear to the door before we attempt to open it.
Okay, give me a perception check.
16.
Mine was dog shit.
So Caziesel's pressed to the top and Sinclair's crouched down listening to the bottom. Caziesel, you hear... Was your roll 16, 17?
16.
You can just about make out a very slight whimpering through the door.
I'm not quite sure what's going on in there, but I can hear whimpering in there. I don't know if...
Whimpering instantly sets a nerve off in Sinclair and he starts to open the door.
Ooh.
As the door swings open, you are struck with a terrible smell. A mixture of blood and excrement flows out around you while whimpers louden and emanate from the room beyond. Looking in, you can see a bare stone room lit by flickering torches. The wall to your right is occupied by thick iron shackles hanging from the wall. Some are occupied by men and women slumped forward with their heads bowed, and some stand empty. They're breathing shallowly, but don't react to you entering the room. In the far corner is a cage holding several people. As they see the door open, they whimper and cry, and push further away from the door as you open it. You can see that they're terrified as they lay in their own filth in a cage small enough to prevent them standing fully upright. In the centre of the room are 3 iron seats with shackles on the arms and legs. In front of each seat is a black iron stand atop which rests a large purple orb. The orb appears to be made of a very similar material. It looks like the jewels that you spotted on the rings previously, and it seems to pulse with light as you look at it. Of the 3 seats in the room, only one is occupied. A man, filthy and bloody, sits with his eyes wide, fixed upon the orb in front of him. Even as you open the door, he never looks away. He appears to be taking in sharp breaths and breathing out long and hard. Well, that's it for another episode. Thanks for sticking with us. As usual, I'd like to thank Lixie B and Jeff for the wonderful logo and character art they created for us, the Stormweather Shanty Choir for letting us use their song Drunken Sailor as our theme tune, DN Dice for sponsoring us, and all of our wonderful Patreon supporters who have been helping us out. Don't forget, if you'd like to support the show, we do have lots of additional content going up on Patreon, including Explore the Lore, which is where I sit down with one or more of the cast and do a deep dive into some of the extended lore of the world, or Character Diaries, where each of the characters are writing little recaps of each episode as if written by their own characters. We will be continuing to update that regularly, so if you want a little bit extra from us, then that's the place to go and check. But with that out of the way, let's get on to the recommended podcast of this week. I started listening to these guys during the lockdown, and I have to say they were just very entertaining, and I think with them being professionals, it lends a little something to the production. But this week's recommended podcast is The Cast Party. So The Cast Party is centered around a cast who are actually pretending to be another cast. They're actors who were filming a fantasy movie, and something goes wrong on set one day and they get thrust into the magical world of Fendrea. So these 4 cast members from a Hollywood film set, arrive in this magical world only to discover that they themselves have their own magic as well. I really enjoy the premise that they use for this. I think it makes for a very entertaining listen as these people sort of come to terms with this magic they find themselves with. I'm not sure which came out first, but it reminded me a lot of Dungeons and Daddies with that whole, newfound powers and having to come to terms with them. But the twist on it was just that much different, and I just can't recommend it enough. So that is The Cast Party. We will obviously have links to their work in the description. Do stick around for whatever I've finished here, because we do have another promo at the end of the episode today for Fellowship of the Tabletop. But that's it for this week. Thanks for sticking with us, and we'll see you soon.
Hello everyone and welcome to this our promo for the Fellowship of the Tabletop.
We are a live play 5e D&D podcast.
We all sit around the table once a week, chat rubbish whilst playing Dungeons and Dragons.
Set in the homebrewed world of Erith, we fight to save the 11 kingdoms.
Or destroy them! We aren't quite sure yet.
In this arc, we're currently fighting the incalculable hordes of the undead, known as the Emberscar Blights, from overrunning the kingdom of Sleepguard.
But how did we get there from the Sword Coast?
Why are we there?
And how will we get home?
Join us, Ian,
Darrow,
Will,
Danae,
Callum. And Mark.
every Friday for a tight hour of storytelling and role-playing.
It's like we're the Avengers and we're announcing ourselves. You can find the Fellowship of the Tabletop podcast on
Apple Podcasts,
Spotify,
Simplecast,
Google Podcasts.
and all other popular distributors.
Until next time, guys.
Farewell!
Oh my god.
Good lord.
Let's do that again.
Oh shit.